What is a construction environmental management plan, or a CEMP? I mean, my gosh, could that be more uninteresting? But we're going to make it interesting right now in this video. I'm going to tell you what this is and why it matters to you. Oh, and it is interesting because we definitely need to make sure that we're managing our environmental impact. And you know, just real quick, just kind of snarkiness. I know it can seem popular to care about the environment, but let's just look at this from two perspectives. And I hope you enjoyed this and know that I reference both sides. Either God's going to torch the earth and we don't have to worry about it too much, but we're stuck with whatever we have until then, or that's not going to happen and we as humanity got to take care of our planet. So either paradigm you have, we should probably manage our environmental impact. So this is good stuff. We can make a difference. Let's just make it a part of our plan and do our part. And it's super awesome. And stay with us on this video to figure out how. Let's do this. So what is the CEMP? It's basically a formal document that outlines the impact that the project will have on the surrounding environment. And it will talk about how those impacts can be managed, reduced, and monitored throughout construction. And it basically serves as a roadmap, and it serves as a roadmap through the pre-application process, through the design process, through permitting, to make sure that the impact is reduced. You know, some of the things that you'll see is that, you know, people deal with a lot is like, how can this project create components in the design to take care of this floodplain, or to maintain this river, or to support a natural habitat, or to reduce the impact on the surrounding area, or to have paint colors that are not going to reflect on neighboring structures or wildlife, or how can the lighting basically reduce what they call light pollution in certain areas where it's important. All kinds of different things. And you might be like, why do we care? But hey, again, we want to be as harmonious as we can with our surrounding environment. So this environmental management plan and this impact study will help us to know what things that we can do. And all we have to do is make sure that, you know, it's already going to be pulled into the design and it's already going to be pulled into your permitting process. But now during construction, make sure that we consider it with how we build the building and the exact way we build the building and the final product and how it's maintained and commissioned, and we should be good to go. This is super important. The other thing is, even if you don't care about it, which I do think you should, like I said, religious, non-religious perspective, it's important either way, but either paradigm that you're in, it's really important to your clients. And so the next time you propose for a project, like you could be like, hey, and we're really good from a sustainability standpoint. So this is a good thing to know. So know that it exists. Know that you need to interact with it through design and permitting, and especially as a developer, because you'll definitely have to make sure that those permits are tied to your overall grading and drainage permit, or your grading permit, or your site work permit, so that you can get going on your construction project. So don't fall asleep on those things. Make sure that they're running in parallel with all your civil permits, and then throughout construction, make sure you're doing a good job and that you can close those out so that you can get your overall certificate of occupancy. So here are some other considerations that I want to talk about now. We have to remember the purpose. So if you're like, oh, annoying paperwork, I get it. But the purpose is to protect the environment. It's also going to help you to stay compliant. So this is really added clarity so that you don't fail and you don't get held up. And it also helps you to minimize risks. One of the things that the CEMP will do will protect the environment, but it will also protect you and identify any key risks. For instance, I'm just going to throw this out. I've seen jobs where they did not understand their impact on the environment and the impact of the environment on them. And one notable example was when their entire project site got cut off because the river flooded. Now you might be like, duh, they should have known that. But hold on a minute. On that project, there wasn't an environmental management plan done. They didn't know the environmental impact on them. They didn't know the risks. They didn't know how they could build the project site in harmony with their environment. And it led to them being blocked out from the project site, The box culvert that they were trying to install at the time was completely ruined. They had to demo it out and completely reinstall the entire structure, redo all of the grading, and all of their basins filled up, and they had to drain all of them to install all of their mitered ends for their prefabricated structures for the storm drain. This is a big deal. So this is, you're like, I don't like this additional paperwork, but just like the soils report, look at it and see if it can help you to prevent or mitigate certain risks on site. And the other thing is, when you're talking to your neighbors, which is a huge deal, you know, like in lean construction, we think of everybody as customers. The building owner is a customer, the trades are customers, the vendors, the neighbors, the pedestrians, the motorists, they're all customers. And you're going to gain a lot of trust with your neighbor customers as you take care of their neighborhood and as you reduce the impact on them and as you are good stewards of the environment. It's just the right thing to do. You know, not to go on too much of a rant, I've never understood the anti-environment rhetoric. Like, why wouldn't we want to respect resources? Lean is all about respecting people and resources. The people around us and the resources. I remember Paul Akers telling me a story. He was like, the attitude that you get from lean thinking is one that is symbolized well or described well in this example. Paul was talking about being on a flight once and he went into the bathroom. It's all nasty, and I'm not trying to be gross, but there's pee on the toilet and there's toilet paper everywhere. And the mirror's all messed up. And Paul said this, and you know Paul Akers from the book 2 Second Lean. He's a great guy. I'm going to Japan with him in October. Super great guy. He was like, Jason, I'm not the janitor. It's not my job to clean the plane, but this plane helps me to get places. This plane, it helps me to feed my family. So he cleaned up the toilet paper, you know, got a rag in his hand and picked everything up and wiped everything down and got the toilet seat clean and the mirror and wiped and left it better than he found it. And he said, why? Because I respect this resource. And I just communicating that because instead of being like, oh, you know, blah, 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 I don't care about this. I'm just going to go build. I'm a builder, right? No, this site, this neighborhood and this job is feeding our families. Let's respect it as a resource. That's not a lecture. That's like just a perspective that I appreciated. So I hope that's valuable for you. The typical things you'll find in this management plan are as follows. Project description, legal requirements, key environmental aspects and impacts, mitigation measures, roles and responsibilities, monitoring and reporting, and emergency response procedures. So it's kind of like a soils report. You go through and understand the important aspects of it, turn that into action, and remember it throughout construction. And the benefits are a smoother project delivery. You maintain a higher or a better reputation for your company. You create a culture of accountability, and you protect the environment. All a win-win. The other thing is, like, humans live in the environment. Just as an FYI, like I said, whether the Earth's getting torched, we got to live here for a long time, or whether it's not, we got to survive perpetually, we probably ought to take care of the environment. So, not a lecture, just something that I think we could do together as a part of the project. Just like my dad said, leave everything better than you found it. And so that's basically the summary. I'm going to turn this into a blog post for you so you can remember. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.